Yes.
I'm glad you brought up another podcast that we're competing with, Bateman's podcast, because I mean we're obviously right with them, Smartless. But don't go listen to that one because we're way better.
They hear our
He's
footsteps.
such a whore. Come on. We're so much better. Bateman, you got to come on our show now. You can bring Arnett too, so you can do the Batman. Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop. Hey, everybody, it's Chris and Alan again in the Small Business Safari, and we're going to keep on rocking. We're going to keep on rocking again because we always rock with cheers, Alan. Good to see you. And we're cheersing again with Andy, the branding czar.
Are we pretending he came back and that we just accidentally all wore the same clothes?
So good news is, everybody, you can't tell what we're wearing. And good news for everybody, you can't tell what we're wearing, and we're not naked, which is good news for everybody else in the room.
This is a couple of podcasts in a row where you paint an image that we just all don't want to hear.
So that's why Alan has never been on TV, never been invited back to TV, or doesn't know how to create an alternate reality.
He referred to himself as wearing an open kimono a couple of episodes ago.
I did open the kimono.
I could actually see that. I don't know why, but that doesn't surprise me.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
That's something you can't unsee, right? That reminds me of a story. So we got a place up in the mountains, and we're driving back to our place, and there's a lot of camping trailers, right? So they're really double wides, and some of them actually aren't even single wides, and they're not even level. So you're like, oh, nobody's even living in there, right? So I went for a run. I'm out there running, and I come running down, and these dogs come running out at me. I'm like, holy shit! I'm scared of crap. And I look over, and the lady comes flying out of the single wide, and she is wearing a t-shirt. That was it. And it looked like a belly shirt. And I just want you guys all to think sumo wrestler coming out of a single wide that was unleveled that I didn't think anybody lived in, with two dogs coming after me.
Wow.
This guy has never run so fast in his life. And I still right now cannot unsee that image of this lady coming out of that single wide trailer. I'm like, baby, just put some clothes on. Let me, the dogs can maul me, but I cannot see that anymore. So
that's not part of the Southern aspect of your new brand, right?
No.
Okay.
Thankfully.
So we have Andy Suggs in studio again. And yes, in TV land, which we aren't on, thank God for everybody. But in podcast land, you may have been listening to this last week or 2 weeks ago, or maybe even just a couple minutes ago, because Andy is still with us. Andy Suggs from Reckon Branding is here. He is a branding guru. Andy, why don't you just give us all a little bit about who you are one more time?
Sure. Yeah. So Andy Suggs, thanks for having me here. Appreciate it. I'm a partner at a branding agency in Atlanta, just outside of downtown Norcross, if you're familiar with the area. We've been around since 1999, and we work with local companies to help them find their voice for their branding.
All right. Thank you, Andy, for doing that. Blah, blah, blah. That's what we're thinking. Blah, blah, blah. You got to check him out. Reckon Branding. I've known Andy for a number of years. He's done a great job on a lot of things, but he's also presented things to me. He's presented presentations about, hey, this is what this is about. This is what branding is. Branding is different than marketing and advertising. Branding is helping you find out who your customer is and what your why is and getting yourself into it. And so now I've held myself back for so long, but
this better be worth it.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask him first.
Yep.
What has been your biggest win as an owner in your company?
Well, thankfully, this aligns with what I know you're wanting to talk about.
Let's go.
So
You're so transparent.
I didn't set that one up very well today, but I'm so pumped about this one. We're going to talk about this one for quite a while.
So we did an amazing project with one of our clients, Aaron Rents. A couple of years ago, we had a campaign called the AA Team, and it was presented to the leadership. I can get into kind of the strategy later, but we ended up hiring a celebrity, Mr. T, who is
Who?
Yeah.
I pity the fool.
Right.
Yeah.
I pity the fool. Bring it back. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. We have sound effects here in the studio.
Yes.
He did the double A team with Aaron Rentz. Before you did that,
Yep.
For the audience, what is Aaron Rentz and what do they do?
Yeah. So Aaron Rentz has been around and they've been in Atlanta since the 50s, and they are rent to own company. So if you need a new refrigerator, sofa, furniture, but can't afford to buy it outright, they will rent it to you for a low monthly fee.
So that they were only in Atlanta since the 50s.
They started in Atlanta. They actually started back in the day renting out folding chairs, but they are now a national company.
So it's nationally.
It is a national
rent to own company. It's
Yes.
called Aaron Rentz.
Yes.
And they engaged you to come in and redo their branding.
Yeah. Come up with a new marketing campaign. Yep. Yep.
Nice. All right, let's talk about this. The double A team, and he brings in Mr. T. Whose idea was it to bring in Mr. T?
Okay. So I have to give credit to Tom Carey, one of the C team members at Aaron Rentz. He actually came up with the idea and was able to secure getting Mr. T.
Wow.
Wow.
So when we presented the concept, Mr. T was not necessarily part of it, but it was a very natural addition to the idea.
So I wish we were on TV because I could show you guys all my Mr. T starter set because we all have them. Big old chains. Let's make it happen, right?
Yep.
And I've already started the mohawk.
The reverse mohawk.
Right. I just start from the front and work my way back. I didn't go sideways up. So it's his idea. Back to the strategy. Let's because in branding, which we talked about, is how did you guys come up with what was their problem and what was their why and what they were trying to solve?
Yeah. So their problem was just frankly name recognition in the space.
I find that so hard to believe.
Yeah, me too.
Everybody knows them.
Here in Atlanta.
In Atlanta. And what they were running into is, they've been around for 60, 70 years, but a lot of their customers they're growing out of their customers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, dead. So the younger
Maybe they should rent to own caskets.
They don't need a new campaign. They just need to extend the product line.
Right. There it is.
Yeah.
So you can rent to own your casket for a low monthly fee of $200 till you die. Oh, you're dead. Damn it.
So yeah, they came to us and they said, it's very difficult for us to differentiate ourselves because basically everybody in their space does the same thing. They wanted to have help just building brand awareness. So, you joke about the double A, but that's one of the unique things that they do have is the double A in their name. So we're like, okay, well, how can we lean into that a little bit and make that something that people can remember? So you have the phrase, you think of the A team. That's your top tier team. People are going to help you out. So we came up with this idea of our version of the A team, which is the double A team, which comes into your home and helps you have the life that you want. Instead of going to the laundromat every week, we can bring a washer and dryer to your house. Or you have an old TV that's on the fritz. Well, for a low monthly fee, you can have a brand new TV. So we had this idea of the double A team. And then we also use the double A in the print material. So like awesome and any other A word.
Aardvark.
Affordable.
Affordable, not aardvark.
Right.
So people don't rent to own aardvarks.
Aardvark
Not
starts
now.
with 2 A's too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Suck it.
Well, yeah, but still, nobody's going to rent an aardvark.
They can have an aardvark. The government insurance company has a gecko.
All right.
That's true.
The double A team aardvark. I like Mr. T better.
Me too.
All right. I knew you did.
But we were taking words that were like, awesome, amazing, affordable, and doing a double A. So it connected with their name and their brand. And so we presented it as this kind of the superhero team that would come in and make your lives better. And so Tom said, why don't we go ahead and get Mr. T? And we're like, that would be awesome if we can afford it. And they made it happen. So they got the rights to the music. Mr. T came on, did an amazing campaign.
Does it seem like celebrities are just a lot more accessible these days? I mean, you hear Jason Bateman doing
Kia.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's was a COVID thing where they were pivoting and cutting some ads.
I'm glad you brought up another podcast that we're competing with. Bateman's podcast, because I mean we're obviously right with them, smartless.
Just-
But don't go
just-
listen to that
yeah.
one because we're way better.
They hear our
He's such a
footsteps.
whore. Come on. We're so much better. Bateman, you got to come on our show now. You can bring Arnett too, so you can do the Batman.
It's a valid point. I mean, you are starting to see that now. And I think that does, I don't know for sure, but I would see that the reality of COVID and just changing perspectives had made them more open to the idea. A lot of the celebrities here in the US do that overseas. They don't do it in the States because they don't want to quote unquote damage their brand by selling
Interesting.
out. I mean,
Really?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
If you look at a lot of like Brad Pitt and other people, they're advertising watches and colognes and stuff like that overseas, but they don't do it here in the US because for the movie industry, they want to keep their brand more pure to who they are as an individual.
Well, that's interesting. These guys, well, that's a great interest because the personal branding, they won't do it here, but they'll do it overseas.
Right. Yeah.
So the guy at Aaron's was able to get Mr. T and secured him. And so then you guys had to meet with him and figure out the campaign strategy and what you want to do there.
Yep.
Take us through how you take Aaron's rents through this campaign strategy, what's going to really sing with them. And then
I think what it allowed them to do, which they had not done before, is the idea of the AA team and Mr. T. It gave them something that they could wrap their entire marketing efforts around. So, a lot of companies, they'll, think about, well, here's what we're going to do online. Here's what we're going to do in print. Here's what we're going to do in social. This gave them a consistent theme between all of them. So it's just, that helps with your ROI and your marketing spend. So it was not, I have to give them credit because they were all on board. They were excited about it. The board, was extremely excited about it. What's amazing is, you think of Mr. T and you would think that he really connects best with us, 40, 50-year-old people who grew up in the 80s. His score, like I think Shaquille O'Neal's a 97 out of 100.
Oh, hang on, industry talk. You just said the score. I have no idea.
Yeah, so there are different terms people call it, but it's basically how. That was a great point. That's a great question.
Yes, thank you. Yay! I got one.
So
This episode, I got one.
There are companies that all they do is they basically audit celebrities on how valuable they may be to a prospective brand to bring them as a celebrity. Who do they connect with? Are they seen favorably? What do people think about them? So they have what's called your Q. They have what's called your Q score as one of them, and it's between 0 and 100. And if you look at Shaquille, who's everywhere now because he is so positive and people love him, he was a 97. Surprisingly, Mr. T was a 96. So we have, great.
And that number just represents their
awareness of who they are in a positive way
across all demographics.
Yeah, and I think you can dive deeper if you're going for a specific audience and understand, like, within this age range and education and household income.
So Andy, for our listeners, how do Alan and I get our Q score? 0.00.
I can tell you for free.
Mr. Plutoski.
Right, yeah. Right.
Mr. Plutoski. Right. That's no way to go through
Fat,
school.
Dumb, and stupid.
0.00. All right. So Shaq, yeah, you're right. I mean, the minute you say the word Shaq, all I can tell you is positivity across the board.
Right.
Stories about him helping a lady changing the tire on I-4 in Orlando. Here in Atlanta, he just took an entire school and just gave them all pizzas. I mean, he just done some amazing stuff. This guy is just so cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Mr. T was just 1 point behind him at 96 in his Q score.
I wonder how Shaq feels about that. It's like, I can't get away from this guy.
Well, you know what? I've been talking with Paul Italian, who came on our show a couple of weeks ago, and we're still on track for dinner with him, with Shaq.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah,
really? Nice. Cool.
Yeah. No, we'll see. But
okay.
It sounded good, didn't it? Come on, Shaq. Come on, baby.
Come on, Paul.
Huh? Paul, buddy. All right. So 96. So was that shocking to you when you saw that?
It was surprising, but the same thing, like our creative director, he had a teenager daughter, and he asked her, do you know who Mr. T is? And she's like, yeah. He's like, how? She's like, I'm not sure about it. I just know who he is. And I think he pops up in, some commercials and the reruns of the A-Team and the Rocky movies. So, and he's just visually and sound such an icon. He does a lot of voiceover work now.
So you talk about Mr. T, and you talked about you actually identified in the room like you're our age. Alan's a lot older than us.
I know. It's almost my bedtime. So get to your point, Chris.
All right. So who is the target market for Aaron's Rents? I mean, who are the people who are going there and saying, man, I can't afford this TV. I can't afford this bed. I got to do this.
That's it. It's people who can't afford a TV, Chris.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Well, how old are they? That's my point. Because can you afford a TV, Alan?
I don't know. How much you paying me to do this?
Yeah, that's a big freebie zero. Okay. Nice.
I think when you look at Aaron's and their customers, there are different segments. So there are the kids who just graduated and they're moving into their first apartment and don't have any money, but they want a sofa and they want a TV, and they don't know how long they're going to be living where they are. Or you might be in a job where you move every year, so you don't want to invest and have to deal with traveling. You might just be financially struggling with where you are in life, but you have a family and you need a bed and you need a washer and dryer. So it can help get you through those phases of your life where money's tight. So that was the beauty of Mr. T, is that he did cross all those spectrums and people knew who he was.
Wow, that's killer. I didn't realize that he would resonate with them. So
yeah.
So you guys started working on the campaigns around there and getting Mr. T involved. And so the process was you guys were coming up with like the storyboards and what you're going to do across social, across all the media outlets, not just social.
Well, yeah, exactly. And just to take a step back, I think one of the things we realized when we looked at what the other companies in their space were doing, coming back to what we said before, is everybody is advertising themselves by what product they have or trying to outprice each other. And when you put all those ads up side by side, everything looks exactly the same. And everybody's just a me too. So what we were tasked with doing is like, how do we get the name Aaron's to be top of mind when someone decides, hey, I want to upgrade my TV, or I need a new laptop, or my washer and dryer just busted, and I need to get a new one.
So you changed the story about what we do and back into let's make us memorable.
Right.
Because when I see Mr. T going down a panel box and then I see him on a billboard, and then I saw the commercial, literally saw them all in the same week. And I was like, every time I look at him, because I'm on the lookout for it too, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Andy did that stuff. Oh, that's just so cool.
Could have been an aardvark.
Yes, Alan, we have definitely got that down. It's going to be Alan's Aardvark something. We knew your next business. I got it. Alan's Aardvark.
Well, that way everybody will find it in the yellow pages.
You know what? I still have my telephone book at home. That's how I find people from 2001. So you guys, I love that you put that all together. You put you started to change the memorable. You guys have been at this now as we're recording for how long? Has it been a year?
Yeah, actually, they're releasing the second year right now.
Have they seen a return? Have they seen a difference?
They have. Actually, that's the beauty of it. Like,
wow,
we can create fun, engaging stuff, but if it doesn't work, what's the point? So, to Aaron's credit, they did a pre-campaign and a post-campaign survey on brand recognition or recall, and so pre-campaign, looking at their audience, the people that they were trying to connect with, they had a recall of 50%. Post-campaign, it went up to 59, which you're like, okay, 9%.
That moved the needle. Sorry.
So 50 to 59, that's solid.
But what that 9% means is that's 30 million more people who now know who Aaron's is, who did not know who they were before.
That's real money.
Yeah, obviously you proved your benefit there. So you did all right.
It's honestly, that really caught us off guard. Also, if you look at you think about like you're on YouTube and online, you see these videos pop up, then you wait until a little thing counts down. You can click skip to go past it. So the industry average for a completion rate, which means that they actually didn't skip it, they watched the whole commercial, is 9%, 8 or 9%.
Industry average in general?
Yeah, in general.
Because I'm always like dumbfounded when one of these little clickbait commercials actually gets me to go to the end.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we were hoping for like maybe 30, and we actually, when we got the numbers back, we're at 86%.
Holy
So 80,
holy double D.
yeah.
I was trying to figure out another double D name to slip in there. I'm working on it. Hang on. They'll come to me. Oh, I know I did. 89%. And you said average industry is what? 8 to 9?
Yeah, 86. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So
looking back,
mhm.
what number when you said 50 to 59,
Mhm.
what would have been the number that you would have hoped for?
I don't anything, honestly, just an uptick, just pointing in the right direction. This is also
there's got to be a statistical validity, 2 or 3%, right? And then, so it's got to be 55.
Yeah, I would say that's probably
54. You're probably
right.
going in and saying, give it more time, and,
right?
That kind of thing.
So Andy, you've given a lot of credit to Aaron's for that, and Aaron's gonna, I think they're going to become a sponsor after this episode, because you're going to help us with that.
Okay, sure.
So but did that unlock your creative juices? Back to again, you went to school for creative design. Your parents, you were always creative, always a doodler and doing things. Did that just like unlock you and your team, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was amazing to sit there and write scripts for a TV spot, knowing that Mr. T was going to be the person saying what you're writing. And to the credit of the director, David Jellison out of LA, he has this really great approach to these kind of spots where immediately you want to do something to grab the person's attention. So if you see the spots, like in the first 5 seconds, Mr. T is jumping out of a couch, busting his head through, or he's coming out of a TV.
I watched that one.
Or popping his head out of a grocery bag. So it's just like, holy crap, what's going on here? So I think that really contributed a lot too to
way to own it.
Thank you.
To the people watching and remembering the spots. But beyond that, you say Mr. T and you start thinking about these sayings that he says, which we were able to weave into direct mail and billboards and truck wraps. So it just
I pity the fool who doesn't open this envelope, that kind of thing.
But there's more. Are there more sayings than just I pity the fool?
That's quit your jibber jabber.
See, let's start pulling some. I like it.
It's this great line that Travis wrote one of the spots where the guy's getting a new sofa, and so at the end he picks up his ottoman and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss this old classic." And Mr. T reaches over and grabs it and goes, "I pity the stool."
I had the good fortune of knowing Andy while this was going down, and he actually couldn't tell us what was happening, but he finally told us a little bit, and then he got to come back, and when it went live, he was able to tell us everything. So every time I see Mr. T, you told a story to me, and it's not about Aaron's rents. It's not about what you did. It's about when you went out there and you were so engaged in the production of this, and you already mentioned the director's name, but you said, "Man, this guy was the nicest guy I've ever met." He said he'd come up and shake hands with the security guards. He had little trinkets he would give people. He made sure that everybody on set, that from the lowest minion, if you will, to the high, he took care of people. And you tell that story, and it just speaks volumes to me. Not that I, again about Mr. T, but the story you told has stuck with me forever.
Yeah. And we literally had people who were working the shoot come up to us and thank us for having them on that shoot, because they said, we've never worked with a celebrity who's so welcoming and accepting. So yeah, I mean, he was doing outbound voicemail messages for people in their cell phones. He was FaceTiming with some people's family down in Puerto Rico. He did a message to my parents on celebrating their 50th anniversary. He almost enjoyed that more than the actual spots themselves. But a true artist, he zoned in, and he knows who he is. That comes back to branding. He knows his brand. And when he's on set, that is his complete 100% focus. He is Mr. T. Camera cuts off. He's a giggling teddy bear.
I've got 2 Mr. T quotes on this magic device I have.
Okay.
T stands for being nice. T stands for manners. T stands for being polite.
Yeah. See,
here's another one.
Yeah.
When I'm ready to fight, my opponent has a better chance of surviving a forest fire wearing gasoline drawers.
I'm using that one.
Yeah, I knew you would.
I love that one. Actually, I like that one better than the other one. Don't be nice. Put your gasoline drawers on, bro, because I'm coming after you.
Like
Let's go.
fire.
But the story, I bring that up because the segue here is that you help people develop their story. And as you told me your story about what you did with your company, the other thing that I really enjoyed, now I'm going to come off Aaron's Rents and everything you did there, which is great. But I remember sitting in meetings with you, and you were doodling, and you weren't doodling on pieces of paper. You doodle on something else.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite doodle sketch thing?
Oh, it's an iPad that's right in front of me now.
Right.
Yes.
I used to watch Andy. We'd be sitting there talking about how can we better our businesses and be better leaders and everything. And I'd look over, and he's over there drawing this R thing and this other thing. And at the time, he was Visual Labs. I'm like, man, what the hell is going on with this dude? He is just drawn like a fiend. And then I started looking. I'm like, oh my God, that's really good. I'm like, I can barely draw a stick figure. But I can draw a stick figure with double D's. But that's a different story. So your creative juices, that's obviously a big part of who you are and what you do. And then you still grow your business. Yeah. So I wanted to transition into that. So as you grow your team and do things, you know where your strengths are. Are you looking for people, when you did your partnership, are there people who augment your strengths, or they complement your weaknesses?
Good question. I like that.
Brother.
I would
That's right, baby.
I would say both. We have partners that we bring in who amplify the work that we do.
Nice call. Amplify. I love that one.
And then we also have people who come in and address needs that are not our strengths. And I think the size company we are and the kind of clients we work with, the vast majority of their needs we can solve. But when it's not in our sweet spot, I can either make introductions or bring people in to help round out, their marketing needs. Yeah.
I'm going to segue unless you got another one.
Go.
All right, here we go. So you have Aaron's Rents, and I don't know what their budget was. You don't even have to disclose that. But for a lot of us listening on this, we're all like, yeah, man, I'd love to have Mr. T just even do my outbound voicemail.
Sure. Yeah.
But I can't afford that. That's what, $100? No, I'm actually, by the way, it's like $1,000. I think I looked it up on what's that thing where he'll do it? You can.
Cameo.
Cameo.
Actually, he's not on it, surprisingly.
He's not on Cameo.
No, he should be.
Yeah.
He's not.
Okay. So I looked up some cameos, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. But finally I found one that I thought I could afford. I'm like, I don't even know who this guy is.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
His Q score is probably like mine.
Were you looking at Cameo when you were on the beach in Cabo, or was this the time you were in Spain, or was this the time you were in Daytona when you couldn't afford it, or was it when you were in Vegas?
All right.
And it's like, do I do a Cameo thing, or do I double down?
All right. Just for the record, just everybody listening, I haven't been to Spain yet. But no, I did not look at it out in Cabo, nor in Vegas, nor at the 500, but it's still expensive because I take care of me. All right. So back.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm still cheap. I told you that already about branding. All right. So let's talk about the small business owner size. What should people expect to pay to do a branding or a rebrand? Wow. I mean, and I know it's all over the board.
That's a horrible question. He should take all the good questions off.
All right, fine. I'll take 2 off because a lot of us, we're all sitting out there. We're listening to this thing, right?
Hey,
we're
Chris,
driving
how much does it cost to remodel my basement?
$21,500 per room. So that'll be $105,000 for you before I even get started.
It is
22 cents.
It's a loaded question. But yeah, you're right. It's like, how much does it cost to build a house? How much does it cost to get a car? It all depends on what you need and what you're trying to achieve. So I think the thing that people need to be, as they're getting into either launching a business or really trying to get smarter about their marketing, often you think of your brand as your logo and your website, your business card. Those are not your brand. They support your brand. They are visual things that help you be remembered, but you need to find that brand story, the voice for your company that's going to be unique within your space from others who you're competing against. And that, depending on who your clients are, the customers you're trying to get, what are your goals, can change how much of an effort that is.
All right. So the reason I brought this up is that Marcus Sheridan is a great person out there in the home services space that says they ask you answer. You want to know how much a pool is? Go to Marcus Sheridan's website, Riverside Pools. It's up and it says it's this, this, and this. He said vinyl pool. It's this. So I went ahead and took his advice and put that on my ttbremodel.com website here in Atlanta. I said, you want to remodel a bathroom? It's going to start at 10 and can go all the way up to 50. You want to remodel a kitchen? It will start at 25 and go all the way up to 100. Yeah. And so it depends on the finishes and fits, but that immediately gets people more information. In the world of the internet, they feel more empowered, especially in home services. I watch HGTV, I go on YouTube, I know how to do this thing, and I can, to Alan's point, I can remodel my basement for myself for 15 grand. Good luck, by the way. Yeah, he's not doing it because I'll still take care of him, but another story there. So, but when people get started in this, it's not like a couple $100. It's not a couple $1,000. So
yeah.
What should people should they sock away 10 grand, 5 grand? And then just to even think about starting this.
Yeah, I would say 10 grand is probably a fair number. One thing that's a pain point we very well recognize, and to address that, we have released videos on our YouTube page that walks people through how you can start understanding what your brand is.
So how can we find that YouTube page? Go out there and look at it. This is for free, people. So listen hard.
So just go to reckonbranding.com, click on the YouTube icon. I believe it's in the bottom footer. And there's actually a couple videos, but there is a video where we walk you through what typical branding agencies do. These are the kind of exercises they walk you through. And then we give you your version that you can do on your own at your own company with your own employees. Right then there, you can download the forms and go do it on your own.
All right. You just heard that, right? You can spend 10 grand, or you can go watch Andy's YouTube videos. You can do it for free.
Yeah.
And you can go do your own basement remodel, or you can hire somebody else to do it.
Why do you keep looking at me when you say that?
Because you said
it's reclaimed wood. No, go ahead.
Yeah. So you can do it, right? It's just all about, what do you think you're going to get? You're like, well, Chris, you don't even know who I am, man, dude. I can remodel my own. You don't even know who I am. I'm very creative. I can doodle just like Andy, and I'm a graphic design artist, and I know logos and I know brands. You can do it, but just like me and my website, and just like all the things I don't know, if you want to be professional, you want to kick it up a notch, you want to take that leap of faith and get up that next level. Maybe it's time to sock away 10 grand and go, you know what? I think I need a branding agency. So don't go into it thinking it's just a couple grand. I got $500, or maybe he'll put me on a payment plan and I can do 12 months, no interest, no financing, which you can at the Trusted Toolbox, by the way.
But my guess is you can actually do a phased.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So to throw out some ballpark numbers, I know there are branding agencies here in Atlanta that, it starts at 50 grand and goes up to easily 150. And there are some that I know don't even start having a conversation if it's not above 100 grand. Now those agencies, their engagement is limited to that exercise, and that's it. And they have a team, and they have a staff they have to afford, and
the country club, and
the trips to Cabo,
the luxury box, the pit passes at Daytona.
And don't forget my season tickets to the Braves.
Right. So
thank you.
No, thank you.
we look at it as, again, that's kind of our first opportunity to work with you. And then beyond that, how do you activate against it? How do you apply everything we learned when we found out what your brand story is and what's your why and how are you unique? How do you continue to apply that to your marketing efforts moving forward? So
that also part of this is that you want to engage Andy and his team and Reckon Branding. be realistic, right? This guy, we're joking about doodling on pages and this and that, but if you've listened to this podcast, you realize this guy's not just a doodler. This guy is definitely a professional, and we're not paying for the time he's spending with us. We're paying for the time he's learned all those other things, just like all of us in our own businesses.
Oh yeah.
You're not paying for the time I'm spending with you. You're paying for that learning to get me here.
How much does it cost to design a logo? Well, it's X plus the 25 years I've been doing this. So that's the thing. It's like you're really buying the expertise of the history that person has.
Right. You can go out to Fiverr for $30, get a logo.
Absolutely.
There you go. Good luck.
And you know what? I was on a call today with a good friend of mine, a photographer. We're going to look at his website. I was going to give him some help, and his website was down. And I was like, can you call the developer? He's like, well, I found him through Fiverr, so I don't know where he is now.
Right. And it's a value play. We all have them. And then, it's in terms of what you want and value and what you want to get out of it. Yeah. I wanted to get a caricature made of our stupid Tommy toolbox that we talk about here, which is our technician who doesn't do things the right way. He's not an employee. He's a caricature. We use Fiverr, $30.
Sure.
We paid for the deluxe. We got him done. Great.
Yeah,
it works.
Absolutely.
Now, for my logo, for what I want to do for TTB remodel or what I want to do with other things, that's another thought, right? You got to think about, all right, so it's a value thing. It's just like, do you want to go get the Mercedes or the new Tesla, or do you have to I got to get vehicle and transportation?
The difference between these analogies is, getting a Mercedes or a Tesla versus a Chevy. That's just,
I have a Chevy, so screw you.
I know you do have a Chevy. I'm sorry. Yeah. But that's just a choice that has no real ramification other than the fact that you're going to break down a lot more often than I will. But when you're talking about something as important as your brand and the growth of your business, then you're suddenly making the decision that kind of goes back to, okay, if you need a game-winning free throw shot, do you want Fiverr to do it, or do you want LeBron James to do it?
I always say, if you're going on a blind date, do you want someone who doesn't know you to dress you for that meeting, or do you want to do that yourself because you authentically know who you are? And so when you go
that's why Chris wears a kimono.
Well, it depends on who's dressing me, because if it's double D's, I'll let her dress me, but I'm probably paying for that, aren't I?
I'm sorry, Andy. You're making a really
he was actually making a great point, though. Yeah. Do you want to dress yourself, or do you want to have somebody help dress you to go out and make that date? And you guys are both right. It's an investment. It's not a cost. Yeah. And you've got to think about this. And when you commit and you go and call Andy and the Rec and Branding team, don't go in there going, hey, man, give me the best deal. Hey, let me phase it in. Let me do this. No, let them do their job, because if you let them do their job, I guarantee you're going to find out you're an Aaron Rents. You're somebody who's going to get different. And while I haven't taken my own advice, I'm telling you guys, take this advice.
Just like a dad.
Right.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. Well, but you're asking, like, if I don't have the money to hire a Mr. T, is this the genesis of that campaign, the strategy behind it is the exact same thought and process that you would apply to any business. So it just so happened at the end of the pitch, like, that'd be awesome if we could get Mr. T. That wasn't necessarily in the cards when we came up with the idea. So, and those are resources that we have on our website. Those are resources we have in our blogs and our videos. Is we realize, listen, we can only help so many people. We're a small agency. We're not going to be able to work with everybody. So if you're going to go out and hire an agency, here are the things you should be asking. Here are the things that you should be expecting. And we have actually a blog that we wrote that breaks down, if you want to spend between $1,000 and $10,000 for a brand, this is what you should expect. If you want to spend between 10 and 25, this is what you should expect, up to, I think, 100,000 plus. So it just gives you an idea, understanding what you're looking for, what you're looking to get on the end of the engagement. How much should you expect to pay?
This is where I think Andy has been genius over the last year, and that's putting that stuff out there. He's doing the Marcus approach of, they ask you, answer. I'm going to put out there. You want to change your own toilet? Go out and watch it. Yeah. Don't call me. You might be able to pull it off.
Well, it does save a lot of crappy phone calls.
It does. Got it. Wait, Wait, hang on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Dad joke coming. Inbound. Hot take. Okay, thank you.
Good Lord.
I hit it. All right. So, but I've seen some of these because he asked me to look at a few of them. I'm like, man, that stuff's dynamite. Because when somebody says, dude, I'm thinking about getting in business and I'm going to just, I'm just going to go to Fiverr and get a logo. I'm like, dude, don't do that. Just stop. You're just, maybe that's not going to work for you, because Chris's handyman services would have never made it. I didn't know Andy when I started my business. I'm really proud of my logo. I happen to have a guy who was a family friend at the time who had come from McDonald's and Cartoon Network and did a great job helping me with logo. And so that's why I want to talk about for a second now is when we talk about branding, we talked about the essence and the why and this, and then, but the logo does make a difference, right? I mean,
Sure. Yep.
As you design the logo, when you work with clients, leading question, do you find that they really don't understand what they're trying to do and you have to educate them? And when you educate them, what are you educating them on?
I think the biggest thing is we're not creating the logo for you. We're creating the logo for your customer. And the things that go into creating a logo are when you understand like what's the essence of the brand. If you're very high tech and emerging products and services, that has a different feel on how you would visualize the design versus if you're the company you'd want to go have a beer with after work and you're kind of very conversational and very low key. That immediately I started to think of different colors and different fonts and different ways that photographs are done. So, and we actually just wrote a blog not too long ago on like how to evaluate a logo. So we have like criteria. So when you're working with a designer, these are the things you should be thinking about as you're trying to judge what's a good logo. So obviously you want to make sure that you don't feel similar to others in your space as best as you can. You want to have colors that are unique. I always call it like a handshake. A logo to me is a handshake. It just kind of sets up an expectation of what's about to happen next.
Gold nugget, handshake.
Not
that kind of handshake, by the way. Double D's. What? How did I do that?
I'm sorry I mentioned that because you've thought of nothing else for an hour.
The whole time I've been doodling. Doodling, by the way. Doodling.
Double D.
All right, back to handshakes. Back to handshakes, yeah.
So yeah. So I think when we work with our customer, it is helping them look through the right lens when they're looking at the logos. And so many times people want the logo to tell the story of what they do. People want to look at it and go, oh, I get that you solve this problem and you do it this way. Well, you don't want to have a logo that's too descriptive, because as you grow and as you have new services and new offerings and new territories, then if your logo is very descriptive, then that becomes obsolete.
Give us the worst branding story you've ever seen, or you look at that one. Wow, that was a 100% shit show.
We were working, and I'll kind of try and use vague terms here. So we were working with a company that was looking to have a presence in the healthcare space here in Atlanta.
Was it Piedmont? Was it?
He just said, he just said he can't tell you.
I can guarantee you haven't heard of them, but they were coming back and saying, we want the logo to be red. And we're like, red in your space is about caution and pain and, alert. And you're about wanting to solve problems and resolving issues. And so having red is not what we would recommend. Also, red's not a great color for colorblind people. So you try to steer clear of that as well.
Which is what percentage of the population?
I don't know.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It was a good question. All right.
Guys,
you got another one. Look it up on that magic thing you got. Got your double D's.
It is remarkable how important color is. And I think
it is. Yeah.
And guys don't think about that at all.
I was just about to bring that up. That's a gold nugget. He just said, if what you're trying to achieve is caring and nurturing, and you want to throw up a red, what does red tell all of us?
Alert, watch out, caution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop.
And then we started getting, well, I showed this to my kid and my kid thought this looked like this. And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. When a client comes back, well, I showed it to my wife or I showed it to my neighbor, or my neighbor's son just graduated from some local college, and like they thought this. And it's just like, how we got to where we are is not based off of a gut reaction. There's a lot of strategy and thought that went into how we got here.
So you're in a very creative space, and a lot of people think right brain, left brain.
Sure.
But what you brought up is that to engage that creative side, is it left or right?
Creative right.
Okay, thank God. Clearly, I'm not that side. But you have to go through the data to get to that creative side, and I think that's the part that people disconnect on.
Right.
Because they think, oh man, he's just doodling on a pad and he's just sitting over there. Yeah, but there was a lot of data behind where I'm going.
I love data because it takes all the options I could explore and drastically narrows down what I'm going to get into.
Well said.
Give us an example of that.
I think when you're looking at a brand, and I'm trying to think of an example we've done in the past that would be a good one to share.
I
just asked a question that caused dead air.
You stumped me.
And so therefore that's -2 for me.
Well, at least you admitted that, because I was like, oh my God, Ed, kill the dead space, because he just stumped our guest. Good job, Alan. We were flowing so well, and we're coming to the end, and oh my God, we're losing our energy.
I just crash landed this plane. So it's time for our 3 questions.
No, I don't think so. I think I'll fill some dead air while I was thinking. Some of the ones that I remember that were good were Chevy brought out the Nova.
Right. Classic ones.
Yeah. That's one that I thought was what was the classic Coke or the new Coke?
The new Coke. Yeah.
That was a total bomb, right? But they said that it actually brought their brand back. I'm like, that's a total spin.
People think that may have been intentional in the beginning.
Okay.
They did that on purpose too.
All right. So let me tell you, I'll take you guys through my branding story. And when you go out and look at the trustedtoolbox.com, that's thetrustedtoolbox.com. I was getting ready to start my business, and I started sketching my ideas of what I want to do, because we're going to be a handyman service, and I didn't want to be pigeonholed, and I want to be able to grow. Mm-hmm. And I brought at the time the person who had come from Cartoon Network and McDonald's, and I said, here's my idea. And he said, so this is your idea for a logo? I said, yeah, I want a guy coming out of a toolbox with all his tool belts on and his hard hat and showing that he's ready to come to work. He said, okay, we're going to meet next week, right? Yep. He goes, okay, I'm going to send you an email, and I want you to do some research before we get together again. And I said, all right, cool. So he sends me an email on Thursday and basically says, your idea is stupid. He goes, look at Coca-Cola, FedEx, Apple, mm-hmm. IBM. He starts giving me all these iconic images. He goes, what is it about? And he talked about Federal Express went to FedEx and mm-hmm. UPS. And, here we're here in Atlanta. And he sent me all these logos. He goes, what do you see as a common thread?
Brevity.
Mm-hmm. Solid brevity. So we got to the toolbox with the mm-hmm. toolbox logo, and I stole Home Depot's font, and I screw them. And
so, Andy, what does red mean in the home services space? I think of blood.
No, I think call to action.
Yeah, like speed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really? Yes. Red is speed?
I feel the need for speed.
That's why your insurance is higher if you have a red car.
How about that?
Oh, that's right.
That's why I wrap them in red, yellow, and white. So no, my insurance is still through the roof. But he took me through that exercise, and it was really eye-opening. Yeah. To have somebody at the level I really feel like you guys are at. I just didn't know you at the time. And he was like, no, slow down. Let me give you some ideas. And so that's where we came up with the Trusted Toolbox, which is literally a symbol of the toolbox, which the emoji that now comes up on Apple, when you go look up and put toolbox in, it looks almost just like ours. And for the record, Apple, I was first. Okay. Take that, baby. Huh? Right. In fact, I'm going to start suing you guys.
I was going to say our next podcast guest is going to be an attorney.
Right.
Damn it. Andy, we're coming to the end of our time, and we didn't.
It's been great.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
You've enjoyed it?
Yeah.
All right.
Totally.
But we always ask our guests a couple of questions.
Right.
3.
Because I love them. Alan has had issue with number 2, and I have said, no, we're going to continue.
Just the phrasing of it.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'll let you ask number 2.
No.
Okay, fine. You're out. Here we go. What is the favorite feature of your house?
My dad built it.
Oh,
winner.
Oh, come on,
You
man.
have to retire this question.
Mic drop. Oh my God. You can't beat that.
Yeah,
My dad built it. Holy bleep. Can I bleep that?
yeah, we can't ask this question anymore.
Oh
We're
my
just gonna
God.
hang this from the
Dude,
rafters.
total winner.
was- yeah,
Oh,
pretty
oh my
cool.
God. Actually, we're choking up a little bit on that one. That was pretty big, dude. That's awesome.
Did
Yeah.
he do a good job? Like
He did a great job.
when you flip
Did
a
you
light
sue
switch and the wrong thing goes on, you're like,
The-
damn it.
The
Dad."
beauty of it was my dad was used to building much more expensive homes. So when he built my home, he took all the little things that you do in the bigger, more expensive homes and applied it to a much smaller home. So very well built.
Well said, Andy.
Yeah.
That is the winner. Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Yep. Okay. All right. I'm regrouping now. That was wow. Didn't see that one coming. Hello. Okay. Here we go. Number 2.
Don't screw this up.
All right. What is your biggest customer service pet peeve? You're out there in the marketplace and you're a consumer. What's your biggest customer service pet peeve?
Being late.
So when somebody's late to a meeting,
Or if they're supposed to be at my house for providing an estimate. If they're late.
we're not late, by the way, but Alan, give me the side eye. Great point, right? Why is that so important to you?
It shows respect.
Respect. And right now, in the world we're in today, and instant gratification in the world we're in, our time is very valuable. All we have is time. You know, you go out there and look at this again. You hear the studies. What's the difference between us and billionaires? Well, it's not time, because we all have that finite time. What are you doing differently? Not that you have to be a billionaire or be successful, whatever your definition is. You only have time. And when somebody disrespects your time, that's a big negative, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a great point. I can't stress that enough, because I just had my operations manager prove a point to our guys about saving money. And you can go leave the job site and go to McDonald's and grab a lunch. And today, that $5 grab it now meal ain't there anymore, right? So he paid $12. He got there, couldn't go in because of COVID, and they were short staffed at the time. He had to wait for his meal, got the meal. The meal was wrong. He had to wait, get his meal. He got back to our office 55 minutes later.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to only be on lunch for 30. This is self-imposed. I don't actually put this on him, but he brought that point up.
Yeah.
He was so put out
Yeah.
by that lack of effort of the time.
Yeah.
Not the $12.50. And we were trying to prove the point that for $5 a day, if you started saving money at 24, you could be sitting on $600 to $1,000 by the time you retire if you just save $5.
If you just don't eat lunch.
Right. Don't eat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what
you starve yourself and you'd be rich.
Well, how about a Cliff Bar? Yeah. How about something nice?
How much does a Cliff Bar cost?
Well, I buy them. I buy
You
them
don't
bulk at
shop for
Costco.
yourself. You just have people do it.
Well, I do, because I'm in Cabo.
You can't run for
then
office.
I-
You don't know how much a gallon of milk is.
Oh, you got me on that. I don't even know how much a gallon of milk is. Damn it! I actually went and picked it up too, but I do know how much a gallon of gas is.
You
and
know
I'm
how
telling
much
you,
a
it's
flight of
chicken.
tequila is.
Yes, I got that down.
Yeah.
Actually, depends on which tequila you like. Blanco? Would you like a reposado? Would you like to go in? I can do it all, but now when it comes to milk, yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. And number 3, give us a DIY remodeling, home repair nightmare story.
So it has to be probably about 10 years ago. I was in my attic moving some stuff around, and I stepped through and fell into my closet in my bedroom. Thankfully, I
Did you nut yourself?
I nut myself and I stopped.
Oh, my God.
Good news is the nut stopped.
Yeah.
The nuts stop here. Were you balls out accurate? Did you
But-
come to a dead stop?
Yeah, right.
I can keep going.
Please don't.
But it
Double
is
D.
the perfect size of a foot locker that was up in my attic. So I just put the foot locker on top of the hole, and it's still that way today.
Oh my God, 10 years later.
And as you get away
Andy,
with that because
I
the
think-
holes in your closet, is that?
Because it's in my closet and I don't care. So
Yeah.
Your father built your house and you completely disrespected it by not fixing the drywall. I'm scheduling a team over there.
I was about to say,
It's
I
on
need,
me.
I need to talk with you.
I think we just have to fix this because now I just need to do this for your dad. I have to do this, but why diverse story. I did something similar. I was up working in my attic and I stepped through and man, a full on step. And I had been in so many attics at the time, but I just completely whiffed and missed the joist. And I went down and thank God I put a dresser in my son's closet and I went right there and my foot stopped there.
Yeah.
So I missed the nut shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I was mortified. And the first thing I did was I checked the jewels. I'm like, oh, well, at least I'm there. But but I felt like Chevy Chase in Vacation. Did you not feel like that?
Yeah,
You just Christmas vacation. You started looking down, going, "Oh wow, it's so cool." Because it was so hot. It was the middle of the summer. I was up there fixing a vent anyway, and it was like, "Oh God, I'm getting cool air. Oh God, I kind of like this now." So I had to get back up and go down, and then the race was on because I didn't want to admit to my wife that the handyman had just gone through a ceiling. I was at a dead on sprint from then. I sweat for the next hour and 2 hours just to get that thing all up. And then the next day she goes, "Why are you in Austin's room?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, just checking things out." I was finished it off to the drywall. She goes, "Why is there dust everywhere?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. Maybe one of the vents I failed, baby. I don't know.
Time to change the filters.
Andy, you have dropped so many great gold nuggets for us around branding, how to think about your company, how to get yourself unique, get yourself different in the marketplace, tell the story, your why. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And you guys have heard it. So you've probably been writing notes, or if you've been driving, don't write notes because you'll either get a ticket or die.
Very good advice.
Thank you.
Gold nugget from Chris.
Thank you. All right. But no, I like to do it all. So let's write them all down, get it going. Andy, how can people get a hold of you? And we'll put this in the show notes.
Sure. No. Well, first of all, again, thanks for having me out. I really have enjoyed this. So
good,
looking
man.
Forward to it. Reckonbranding.com, RECKON branding.com. You can jump on there. You can send me an email as well. And it's just Andy, Andy at reckonbranding.com.
Awesome. Alan, anything to add?
No.
Oh my God, this was
it,
awesome. And once again, everybody, keep listening to this podcast because this is going to help you. And if it doesn't help you, it's going to help somebody. Spread this word. Let everybody know that the Small Business Safari, we're coming after Smartless because we're just as good as Bateman, Arnett, and Hayes.
Bateman's nervous.
Yay, baby. I heard he's shaking, actually. You know, I from his people. They've reached out to me. They let me know that. But keep going up that mountaintop of success. This is the place where you can learn about how to run your own business, scale it up. If you don't want to get into the corporate world and stay in there for the rest of your life, get out here and do this because you're going to love the energy that we do and everything we do. Keep going up that mountaintop of success and we will get you there.
Cheers.
And goodbye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Small Business Safari. Remember to keep that positive attitude, which will reflect in a higher altitude as you're out there making it happen in the wild world of small business ownership. Until next time, go make it a great day, Adventure Team.